the next thing that we will study about is wages. Okay, I believe some of you, some girls in my class, I believe some of you already has tried to use wages, right? I'm not sure about the guy there. If any of you already use wages, maybe. I'm not sure. Rafi, have you ever used wages, Rafi?
No, sir.
Okay, good then. Okay, but the problem is the things that I want to discuss about is not the wages that you girls normally use. Okay, the wages that I want to talk about is the wages that we use to raise a particular load, or you normally, I believe some of you normally use it to ensure that your door is not moving anyway. Has you ever used wages before for that particular purpose? Okay,
Yes.
some small things which you insert it in under your door in order to increase friction force there. Okay, in order to increase friction force there, then your door will not be moving anywhere, right? I believe some of you already use that. Okay, so that's the kind of wages that I want to talk about. Okay, that's the kind of wages that I want to talk about. Something like this. Okay, and if we talk about this kind of wages, we have to talk about several conditions. Okay, the first condition that we want to talk about is the magnitude of the force. Okay, the magnitude of the force P. Okay, which will raise the load here. Okay, which will raise the load M here. Okay, because if you give a pushing force P there, okay, the wedges will move that way, then that particular wedges will raise the load upwards, right? The load, this particular load M upwards. Okay, if you take a look at this, right? If you push the wedges to the left, if you push the wedges to the left with force P, the M here, the mass here, will move, it will be going up there because of the wedges. Okay, and the other things that we have to discuss about if we want to pull the wedges out. If we want to pull the wedges out, okay, we have to pull the wedges the opposite direction. So instead of going to the left, the force is supposed to be going to the right in order to pull it, out. Okay, and there is one particular condition when, like what you did in the door, whenever you use wedges in order to stop a door for moving anywhere. Okay, once you insert it, okay, it will stay there, which means it has a condition of self-locking. The meaning of self-locking is it will be staying there if no force is used to push or pull the wedges. That's a condition of self-locking. So that's the normal condition that you normally use to your door. Okay, because after you put it there, it will self-lock and it will not be moving anywhere. Okay, that's condition of self-locking. So there are three conditions that we will talk about. Is the one is the condition of pushing the wedges in. Okay, the second one is pulling the wedges out. Not wedges here. It's supposed to be wedge because it's just single, right? Okay, and the third one is self-locking condition of the wedge. Okay, so these three conditions are the conditions that we will going to talk about. Okay, so for today, because it's already 2:25 p.m. Okay, for today, I will just discuss about the theory behind these three conditions. Okay, the problem example, I will force you to do the problem example by yourself, and next week on Thursday, I will explain several problem example about several other problem example about wages. Then on Friday next week, I will discuss about the several problem example which is related to our final exam. Okay, Rafi, can you copy me?
Yes, sir.
What do you think about my writing? It's good, right? You can read it, right?
Oh, perfect, sir.
Perfect. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So these are the three conditions that we are going to talk about. Now we will try to discuss the first condition, the easiest one. Push the wages in. Okay. When we push the wages in, we can draw the free body diagram. And this is our free body diagram. So this is the free body diagram of the top mass, and the bottom one is the free body diagram of the wages. Okay. Maybe some of you are a bit confused about what is R1 and what is R2. Okay. R1 and R2 there is actually the reaction force, total reaction force. Okay, this one, R1, R2. Yeah, R1 and R2 is actually the total reaction force. R1 here is supposed to be the normal force 1 plus friction force 1. Okay, if I draw in detail about R1, okay, if I draw in detail about R1, right, it's supposed to be, we can divide it into two components. This is the first component. Sorry. I think I'm supposed to use different color. Okay. This is the first component, which is normal force, N1. And this is the second component, which is the friction 1. Okay. If you sum both, the results will be R1, like this. Okay. The same for R2. Okay. For R2, we can divide it into two components as well. The first one is this one. This is the normal force 1. And the second one will be this one, which is the friction, normal force 2 and friction force 2. And if you sum it together, the result will be R2. Okay, and why I draw it in R1 and R2 is just in order to make the drawing much simpler. Because one thing that we're supposed to talk about when we talk about wages is just all the things are just the impending motion condition. Okay, all the things are in the impending motion condition, which means that we know already the value of the friction force. The value of the friction force is supposed to be the normal force multiplied by the mu s. So everything are like this. All the friction force which is happening at the mass and the wages, all the friction force which are happening there, are normal force multiplied by mu s. Okay, that's why. Okay, that's why mu s here, okay, tangent theta here, tangent phi here, we can replace it with mu s. Okay, all phi there is actually all the tangent phi there actually the same as our mu s. Why is like that? Because tangent phi is supposed to be the same as friction force divided by normal force. If you see the angle there, right? Tangent phi here, okay, the tangent phi here is supposed to be this one, right? This particular part, this is the friction force, and the horizontal, the vertical one is supposed to be the normal force. So tangent phi there is supposed to be the same as this one. Friction force divided by normal force, okay, which is the same as our mu s. So instead of drawing the force like this, instead of you draw the force like this, there is a normal here, normal 2, and friction 2, normal 1, friction 1. Okay, instead of drawing it like this, okay, in order to make it simpler, we draw it like this. With R1 and R2, but at certain angle, phi. Because R1 here actually representing both our F1 and N1. Okay, so both of these is represented by R1. Both of these are represented by R2. That's why we can draw it. That's why we can draw it like this one. Okay. Up until this point, anyone have any question? Anyone?
Pak, itu R1-nya kenapa harus diinin juga, Pak? Dikasih angle juga. Kan dia bawahnya lurus, Pak. Saya masih kurang ngerti di situ.
Oh, dikasih angle phi, oke? Dikasih angle phi itu bukan karena bawahnya lurus atau tidak. Angle phi itu, oke? The angle phi is actually representing this. So remember, right? Just now I told you that R1 is actually representation of N1 and F1. So if we sum R1 and N1 and F1, the result will be R1. Okay, and you have to know that F1 is going to the right and N1 is going up, right? The summation of these two will be the red one, right? If we have F1 going to the right and N1 going up, the vector summation of both will result in the red R1. Correct or not?
Oh.
So the angle there, phi, is actually representing the comparison between friction force and normal force like this. Okay, you understand?
Jadi itu yang R1-nya itu ini Pak, normal ya?
Bukan. R1 itu kombinasi dari normal force dan juga friction force.
Oh, gara-gara frictionnya miring, jadi dia dikasih...
Bukan miring, frictionnya ke kanan, normalnya ke atas, penjumlahannya kan jadi miring kan?
Iya.
Ini kan kalau misalkan, ini friction force saya, F1. Normal force saya, ke atas, N1. Penjumlahan keduanya gimana?
Miring, Pak.
Miring kan?
Iya.
Nah, ini jadi, hasilnya adalah R1. Makanya ada angle phi di sana. Bukan theta. Angle phi di sana. Angle phi itu merepresentasikan perbandingan antara F1 dan N1. Karena tangan phi itu kan sama dengan F1 dibagi N1 kan ya?
Oh, iya. Oh,
Jadi,
iya.
Okay, so basically what we do here, instead of representing it like this with N1, F1, we represent the force with R1 and V. Okay, do you understand that?
Ngerti Pak, ngerti.
So R1 and V, okay, combination of R1 and V is just the same as combination of F1 and N1, like that.
Oke, Pak.
Okay, yeah. And for the top one, it's actually slightly inclined, you know. So basically, there is an alpha here as well.
Oh iya.
Yeah, there is an alpha here because it's slightly inclined like that. So there is the angle there is supposed to be alpha plus phi, but because the phi there is from the normal direction of the inclined angle, okay, it's supposed to be just like phi like this. This one is inclined, right?
Iya, Pak.
This one is not exactly straight like that.
Jadi R1 itu maksudnya, R itu maksudnya resultan gitu, Pak?
Betul. R is actually stands for resultant of the normal force and friction force.
Oke.
Any other question? So basically, it's up to you guys. Okay, you can represent the forces which is happening at the wedges with this kind of condition, with this kind of free body diagram, or you can represent it with this free body diagram using R1, R2, and P. So you can use both. You can use this, or you can use this as well. Okay, if you use this one, you have to put N1 and F1. And F1 here, F1 there, is supposed to be N1 multiplied by mu S. Okay, F2 here is supposed to be N2 multiplied by mu S. Okay, if you want to use this one, please don't forget to put R1 and phi there, because phi will represent the portion of N1 and F1. Okay, so this one, phi and R1 is actually just the same as F1 plus N1 like that. Okay, both will give us the same information. Any other question about this? So this is the free body diagram for us whenever we try to push the wedges in. This is the free body diagram. We try to push the wedges in. Okay. Any other question? No? Rafi, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Then I will go to the next one. Okay. The next case is this one. Please try to ignore this part. Okay, ignore that one first, because I will discuss it at the end. Okay, let's us discuss about this. The second one. Okay, just now in this problem, we discussed on the first condition is how to push the wedges in. Okay, so for this one is, for this particular free body diagram, this is the second condition. Second condition is how to pull the wedge out, pulling the wedge out. Okay, if this one is pushing the wedge in, this one is pulling the wedge out. Okay, if you can see, right, when we push the wedge in, right, this is our free body condition, our free body diagram. Okay, free body diagram of the wedges is like this. Then because of action and reaction, this is the free body diagram of the mass. Okay, remember the one that is most important, the most important one is this R2 here and R2 here. The R2 there is supposed to be in the same line of action, but opposite direction because of action and reaction. Okay, then we have mg and R3 here because there is a normal force due to the wall here. Okay, so that's our free body diagram in order to push the wedge in. Then now, this is the free body diagram to pull the wedge out. Okay, that's the free body diagram to push the wedge out. Okay, and as you can see there, the direction is different, right? The P previously is going to the left. Now we have to pull it going to the right. And beside that, the friction force previously is going to the right. Okay. Now the friction force is going to the left. Okay, going to the left for this one and slightly inclined to the left for this one. Okay, so this is our free body diagram. Okay, so this is just the same, but the friction force is to the left, and this one is slightly inclined as well to the left, friction force. The normal force is just still the same. The normal force, there will be no change in the normal force. Okay, here. The only change that will be happening there is just the friction force, the direction of the friction force. Okay, this is the condition where we pull it. Okay, so in this wedges problem, the normal thing that we supposed to answer normally is what is the force to push the wedges in, and what is the force to push the wedges out? That's two common questions in the wedges problem. Okay, what is the force to push the wedges in, and what is the force to pull the wedges out? In order to solve that problem, you have to draw this particular free body diagram and this one as well. By solving those two free body diagram, okay, by solving these two free body diagram, you will be able to answer for this particular question. What is the force P, the value of the force P to pull the wedges out, like that? Or what is the force P to push the wedges in there? Okay. For this one, for the mass, right? Because the friction force is going to the right on the top mass, because here at this particular free body diagram, the bottom free body diagram, the friction force is going to the left. At this particular free body diagram, the friction force is going to the right. Because of that, the reaction force will be happening like this, to the left. Okay, to balance it out. Then that's all. Okay, by using these two free body diagram, we can solve for P. Okay, any question there about the pulling force? After this, I will explain about the self-locking condition. Then I will wrap up the class.
Sir, what is alpha?
Oh, alpha is the inclination of the wedge. So something like this. If you have a wedge, normally it's like this, right? This is the normal wedge that you use, right? This is alpha. Okay, the inclination angle of the wedge.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So actually, it's slightly wrong. Okay, the way they draw the alpha. So the alpha is supposed to be like this. This is alpha. This is alpha. So just use this one. Okay, the inclination of the wedge.
Okay, sir.
Pak,
Okay.
itu kan R1, R2-nya kan sama R3 kan ini berubah ininya Pak, kayak
Arahnya.
Iya, kalau R3 kan kelihatan, tapi R1, R2 kan dia kayak
Kelihatan.
cuma beda itu doang, Pak.
Normal force-nya tidak berubah untuk R2 dan R1. R1 dan R2 itu normal force-nya tidak berubah. Yang berubah hanyalah friction force-nya. Makanya arahnya jadi berlawanannya seperti itu. Kebayang nggak maksudnya?
Iya.
Jadi normal force-nya itu sama-sama tetap ke bawah. Di sini tetap ke bawah, di sini tetap ke bawah, di sini tetap ke atas, di sini tetap ke atas. Tetapi friction force-nya berubah. Yang awalnya ke kanan di sini, di pushing in, di pulling out, friction force-nya ke kiri. Makanya reaction force, makanya R1 dan R2, resultant force-nya, R1 dan R2 itu miringnya jadi berubah. Alasan utamanya itu, karena apa? Karena yang berubah arahnya itu hanya si friction force saja. Normal force-nya tidak berubah arahnya.
Tapi berarti ntar nilai R-nya itu juga bakal berubah dong, Pak?
Oh, memang berubah, betul. Nilai R-nya akan berubah. R1 dan R2 akan berubah nilainya.
Oh.
Jadi, kalau ini agak salah ya. Ini R1, R2, R3 ya. Ini kondisi pertama. Ini R2. Kondisi yang kedua itu harusnya R1 aksen, R2 aksen, R2 aksen, R3 aksen. Lebih benar yang kayak gitu. Oke, nilainya tidak akan sama keduanya. Bisa sama, bisa enggak. Tapi sebaiknya kita tulis R1 aksen biar kalian tidak bingung. Karena kemungkinan berbeda itu ada. Oke? Oke? Kalau tidak ada pertanyaan tentang bagaimana if there is no questions about the pulling force, then I will explain the last thing about self-locking. Okay? Any question about the pulling force? Okay, in order to make this one easier, okay, please don't try to take a look at the pushing force, okay? I don't want to discuss about this. I want to discuss about this, okay? As I previously explained, right? You can draw it like this, or you can draw it like this as well. P, then normal force, N2, and friction force 2, which is the same as N2 multiplied by mu s. Then this one, N1, and friction force 1, which is the same as N1 multiplied by mu s. So you can use either this, okay? You can use either this one or this one. It will give us exactly the same results. Okay? If there is no more question about that, then I will explain about the self-locking condition. Okay? The self-locking condition is the condition which you normally encounter when you put a wedge on at the bottom of your door. Okay, after you put the wedge in, okay, after you push the wedge in, okay, it will stay there, right? So it will not be moving. We call that kind of condition as self-locking. If there is no self-locking, okay, the problem with non-self-locking, right? Okay, if there is no P here, and the condition is non-self-locking, what will be happening there after you push the wedge in is the friction force which is happening at this particular surface and this particular surface is not enough, okay, to maintain equilibrium condition, which means if there is no pushing force or pulling force, okay, the mass here will start moving down automatically, and the wedge will start moving to the right automatically as well. If the locking condition is not fulfilled. Okay, if the self-locking condition is not fulfilled, this is what will be happening. The mass will be going down. Okay, the wedges will automatically move out, move to the right like that. Okay, that's the thing when soft locking condition is not happening. Okay, so we have to know about what is the limiting condition of the self-locking. Okay, if we want to ensure that there is a self-locking, we have to fulfill this. Okay, in order to fulfill the self-locking, okay, the alpha, the inclination of the wedge, okay, has to be small enough, okay, has to be small enough so it fulfills this condition. Alpha supposed to be less than 2 phi, where phi is the same as tangent phi is the same as mu s. Okay, remember, tangent phi is the same as mu s. Okay, tangent phi is the same as mu s, the same as friction force divided by normal force. Okay, in order for self-locking to be happening, you have to fulfill this. If you are not fulfilling that, which means the alpha is bigger than 2 phi, okay, the condition that I talked about before is happening. So it's no self-locking condition. Alpha is bigger than 2 phi. Any question about that?
No, sir.
Yep. Okay. For the self-locking condition and non-self-locking condition, I will explain again next week on Thursday when we start the class about the several other problem example of the wedges. So after this, I will give you several homework as usual to practice for your final exam. This will be your last homework. Okay, your last homework about tipping condition and wedges. Okay.
That means the exam itu 3 weeks ini Pak, 2 weeks apa 3 weeks from now?
I'm not so sure. We're supposed to follow the schedule from faculty, from our faculty.
Oh, okay.
Whether the schedule is already out or not yet. But we will follow the exam. We will follow the exam schedule from the faculty. So you just wait for that. Okay. Most likely next week the exam schedule will be out, and I will inform you about the exam schedule via WhatsApp group. Okay. And meanwhile, after this, I will give you several homeworks on the friction, about dry friction, about the wedges, about the tipping condition. Okay, those three. Most likely, I will give you five problems. Okay, to be solved, and then you have to submit everything by Tuesday midnight. Then on Wednesday morning, I will post a video on how to solve some of the difficult problem. And on Thursday, as usual, we will have an online class to discuss further about several other problem example of the wedges, and to discuss about the self-locking condition as well. Okay, the detail of the self-locking condition. Then on Friday, it will be a practice time. So I will give you several other problem example about the exam, the final exam, like that. So that will be our scheduling. Okay. Any other question about that?
No, sir.
Okay then. I think in that case, it's already it's almost 3 p.m. So I believe it's supposed to be all for today's class. Okay. If you have any question about today's class, I will try to post today's class in the YouTube. Then I will post it in the WhatsApp group. And if you still have any question, please ask me directly via WhatsApp group.
Oke, Pak.
Okay. Yeah. Remember, in order for the exam, practice makes perfect. So try to practice more. Yep.
Siap, Pak.
Dan Pak.
Okay, sir.
Okay then.
Thank you,
I think,
sir.
yep. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
I think that's all. See you guys then.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Terima kasih, Pak.